Good morning, everybody. Welcome for our lesson today. We are still under our vision, that is climate, under the physical environment. So we are looking at the climatic zones. We had looked at equatorial, modified equatorial. Today we want to look at what we call modified tropical. Modified tropical. Modified tropical climate. So modified tropical, as the word suggests, is found within the tropics. Tropical is found within the tropics, found within the tropics. And when you talk about tropics, then you are talking about equator, what you call Tropic of Cancer. We have Tropic of Capricorn. So these are what you call the tropics. For example, this is the world globe. This is our world globe here, like this. So we say this one is what we call the Tropic of Cancer. Tropic of Cancer is here. Then we have, this is the equator. It is marked 0 degrees. This is marked 23.5 degrees north. And then this one is called the Tropic of Capricorn. Tropic of Capricorn, marked 23.5 degrees south. So when you talk about the areas within the tropics, then we are looking at this region that are inside the tropics here. So these areas does not experience this type of climate. So the areas within the tropics are this from here to here. These are what we call the tropical areas. So experience what we call modified tropical climate. Then the temperature varies according to the altitude. So let us go back now. Temperature varies. Temperature varies according to altitude. Altitude, and we say it, what is altitude? Altitude is height above sea level. Sea level. For example, if I may define what is an altitude, this is a relief feature or a mountain. So you'll find here, this is a lake or an ocean. So this is a sea. So the distance from here to here, this distance is what we call altitude. So this is called altitude. So distance from the sea level to the high areas, mountain areas, that's what you call the sea level, or then you have height above the sea level or altitude. And that's why we say that in Mombasa here it is very hot because of the low altitude. Then when we talk about high altitude, then we are looking at mountain areas or highland areas. So that is what we call altitude. So temperature in modified equatorial depends with varies with the height above the sea level. Where we see that at low altitude areas like Mombasa, then you'll find that the area experience high temperatures. High altitude areas in mountain areas like Mount Kenya region experience low temperatures. So that it is the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. And then another one, these areas of modified equatorial receive low rainfall. So there is low rainfall per year. There is low rainfall. And then also another one, there is high temperatures during the day. High temperatures during the day. So during the day we have very high temperatures in this area. And then cold during the night. During the night it's very cold also. And then lastly, the air also is hot and dry to some areas. Not all of it, but some areas, but you're looking at a given region. I have not said that Africa, all of it is hot and dry, no. We are just looking at this region or modified tropical areas as we are talking about. So that is all about modified. And then we want to look at mountain climate. Mountain climate. Mountain climate. Mountain climate is found on the peaks of the mountain. So it is found on peaks of mountain. And when we talk about the peaks, we are looking at the highest levels of the mountain here. This is what we call the peaks of the mountain, like that. So here is what we call the peaks of the mountain. So mountain climate is found in those areas like that. And then we say that this one you'll find some. So this mountain, they normally influenced by altitude. Mountain vegetation, you'll find some vegetation here. This one. Here we have snow and bare rocks. Snow and bare rocks. Here we have what? Heath and moorlands. Here we have what we call bamboo forest. Here we have bamboo forest. Here we have what we call rain forest. That is equatorial. Then here we have savanna. Savanna. So this one can be grassland and the woodland is here. So that it is. So that is a mountain vegetation or mountain climatic area. So mountain climatic area is influenced by mostly we have what we call altitude. So we have said distance from here to here. So we have the sea here, sea. So this is what we call altitude or height above the sea level. So the higher you, at this level here, the low altitude areas, this area is very hot and dry. Very hot, especially, I'm giving an example of Mombasa. But as we start approaching the mountain areas or highland areas, then it becomes very cool. That's why you normally say the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. So this area, it is cool. And that's why we have said we have snow here. Snow is very cold at the mountain here. So because of the high altitude areas like that. And then we said this climatic zone is also very important because here we can carry out what we call pastoralism in this savanna. Because when you go in savanna, you'll find a lion. We have also antelopes. We have elephant. So they attract tourism. And then because of the grassland, we have the pastoralism. Keeping of livestock is also done in savanna. Pastoralism, a very good example is Masai Mara Plain, where we have the Masai practicing pastoralism in that savanna grassland. And then here we have a lot of forests here. So what we can carry out here is what we call lumbering. Lumbering is processing of timbers, making of timbers, and we know very well timbers make furnitures. We can export them, then we earn foreign exchange, or we can use them to earn income, we as farmers and so on. So lumbering is done here. Then at the top of the mountain we have snow and bare rocks. Here we have tourism. So here we have tourism. Very many tourists will come to see the snow and the bare rocks on the peaks of the mountain. And especially we say it in Africa, we have snow-capped mountains. There are 3. We have Mount Kilimanjaro. Mount Kilimanjaro has snow on the peak. Then also we have Mount Kenya. Then lastly we have Mount Ruwenzori. So Ruwenzori, you'll find it. So Kilimanjaro is found in Tanzania. We say it is also the largest mountain or the highest mountain in Kenya, in Africa. Then Kenya is just found in Kenya. Then Ruwenzori is just on the border of Uganda and the DRC Congo. So these are what we call the snow-capped mountains in Africa. So that is how it is organized. Now, the main factor influencing this vegetation distribution, this one, the main factor that influence that now at this level, maybe we started from 0 here to 1,000 is savanna, 2,000, another vegetation, 3,000 meters above the sea level, another one, 4,000 to 5,000 meters above the sea level. So the main factor influencing this vegetation is called altitude. Altitude and temperature is the one that influence this. So altitude and temperature influences this vegetation zone here. So that's what we call mountain climatic zone. So that's all about mountain climatic zone, all like that. Now, this one was Eastern Africa. Now let us look at Africa. If maybe I can draw something like this. So, we have some climatic zones like this one. This is number 1. And then there is another one here. This is number 2. It is also here. Down here, this is also number 2. You'll also find it like that. There's also another one here. So this is number 3. 3 is here, then 4, then 5. We have other ones like this one. This is 6, like that. So that's how it is. Now, if we may start with the number 1, in Africa, this one is called equatorial climatic zone. Equatorial. So it is found along around this area, around Nigeria, these countries here, and then we have Cameroon, Gabon, Congo. Those countries experience this. So this one have some characteristics. They cover along the coastal areas. So characteristic number 1, characteristics. Number 1, this area has high rainfall throughout the year. So here we have high rainfall throughout the year. Why? Because there is a lot of evaporation. We know very well that here, this is the Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean is here, ocean. So there is evaporation from the sea daily. And when evaporation is taking place, then we know well that the water vapor condenses, then it comes back as rainfall. So there is high rainfall here throughout the year. Then the type of rainfall experience here is convectional rainfall. So here we have what we call convectional rainfall, because this area is bordering a large water body. Areas that borders large water bodies, like even here, then you talk about this region, all these regions, they experience what we call convectional rainfall. So there is convectional rainfall here, like that. Then we have also, this area has also high humidity. High humidity throughout the year. What do we mean by humidity? We have said when the sun hits this water, so there is evaporation taking place, evaporation from the sea. So when evaporation takes place, then it forms something like clouds in the atmosphere. It covers the sun from lighting. That's what we call now humidity. So it is called humidity. Humidity is the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere. So there is a high humidity here throughout the year, and that humidity is the one that condenses to form cloud to come back as rainfall. Then here there is also high temperature. High temperatures. So high temperature throughout the year. Why are I saying high temperature? When you look at this area, it's crossed by the equator here like this. So there is a lot of evaporation from the sea here because of high temperature residing from because of the equator. We know very well that at the equator the sun is overhead 2 times. That is 23rd September. Then we have 21st March. So that it is. So there is high temperatures throughout the year here. Then we have what we call the temperature range is small. What do we mean by diurnal temperature range? So, for example, let us say this is we have the month of January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, like that. So we are assuming here we had 26 degrees Celsius. Here we have 27. Here we have 28. Here we have 32. Here we have 20. We have 18. So this is 30. And then 28. Then 27. And then 31. So when we talk about temperature range, then we are looking at the difference between the largest temperature of the year and the smallest. So we shall look at here, which is the largest temperature here. We shall look at 31. So we shall take that 1 minus the smallest temperature of the year. This is 26. So minus 26. 26 here. So when you minus, you'll find this is 11 minus 6, that is 5 degrees Celsius. So you can see this is a very small temperature. That's what you mean by the difference between the largest temperature here and the smallest is very small. That's what you're talking about, that area. So that is about equatorial. Then we have said there is convectional rainfall here. Convectional rainfall do normally fall in the late afternoon, then accompanied by what? Thunder and lightning. So the rainfall here is accompanied by thunder and lightning. That is about equatorial region. So I think those are regions of Africa. And then we shall look at number 2, this Mediterranean climate. And then we have desert and semi-desert. Then also next time we shall also look at Mediterranean is also found here, Mediterranean region. We shall look at them. Then we have mountain climate in Africa also. We shall look at them. So that is all for today. Then we have this savanna number 3. Savannah covers the largest part of Africa, like that. Thank you.